Alrighty guys, Matt and Diana here with Rafton Realty, Kelly Wright Real Estate, and all the good things. Here to give you a market update. No, we had a little brown bagger today. Got some really good information around Dalton, Dalton Gardens area, which is just outside of here, Rathdrum. So if you live in Dalton or looking to buy or sell in Dalton, this is for you.
Yes.
Take it away, Diana.
I gotta get on that energy level. So the biggest thing with Dalton Gardens, it's beautiful own little town, right? So it's situated between Hayden, Idaho and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, here in northern Idaho where we are. And it's just a fun little town. You see little like deer going through, speed limit most places 25. Super cool. If you live there, you already know it's fun. But there were some really interesting things that maybe not everybody realizes or understands, especially if you've bought there recently or have been looking toward it. The big thing with Dalton, they are very protective of the aquifer. They actually have an agreement with Panhandle Health District, who monitors aquifer, all of our septic sewer systems, to be able to offer what they offer as far as home life and the residences they have. So they actually created a special agreement in 1978. At that point, Dalton Gardens was 75% built out, and they were realizing, one house per every 5 acres, which was the rule for rural land at that time, was just not enough to sustain the growth that they were seeing. But they, needed to be modest in what they were doing because they wanted to protect the natural springs underneath, in a sense. So in 1978, they decided to allow for one structure, one residential property per acre to be built. So if you ever hear Dalton Acre, that's where that comes from. They might not all be exactly an acre, but that's your Dalton Acre. One of the big things in Dalton Gardens as a homeowner that you need to know, every 5 years, it is mandatory that you have your septic system pumped. So every residence in Dalton Gardens is on its own private septic system, so for sewer disposal. That's not really, anything crazy if you haven't dealt with septics before. They, tend to kind of just do their own thing. There's not a lot of maintenance as far as anything goes, but you do have to have them pumped. They require every 5 years, and you actually need to send that receipt in to the city to show that it was done. If you don't, they'll send you a letter or, potentially fines or things. If you're trying to sell and it hasn't been done, or you can't prove it's been done in the last 5 years, it will hold up your sale or your purchase. So something super important right now, septic pumping, $650-ish. So not too bad for the span of 5 years. So really, you're not connected to city systems where normally you pay monthly a bill to your city utilities. So that's the deal there. Just really important to have it done. They're very protective of the system because they don't have the capacity to build a whole city setup. So they need to make sure everyone is actively doing their part to make sure all is well in the means of that. Another really interesting thing about Dalton's accessory dwelling units are pretty much a no-go. 100%. You can absolutely have a shop. It's 1 acre. Why the heck not? You can do a half bathroom in there, a toilet and sink basically, but no accessory dwelling units. And again, the reasoning behind that is because they need to protect what is, potentially going down in the aquifer. They need to, have regulations around that. So accessory dwelling units are a no-go, unless they're grandfathered in, but that would potentially have to be something that was built as early as before 1960. Or, depending, in some cases could be mid-70s, but very dependent. And if there is an accessory dwelling unit structure, and it's actually used for dwelling in that sense, you could be required to have it decommissioned either prior to the sale or purchase of a property, which is not a fun process from my understanding. Let's see, what else, Matt? Anything else that you were like, aha, from our Dalton Garden people?
No, there's some good information. I think they called that letter that you get from the city a brown note. So you definitely want to make sure you don't get one of those. Pump it every 5 years, and if you're selling, just make sure you pack it in as part of your plans as far as getting ready to list your house and get it pumped. So I think in summary, save the aquifer and pump the poop. Pump your poop.
But in all seriousness, if you have questions about Dalton Gardens, reach out to us. If you live there and you're curious, what are the codes? What are the rules for, setbacks if you're on more than an acre for putting an accessory unit, not dwelling, but accessory unit like a shop? They have it all on their website. They try to make it super easy. And that is just daltongardens.com. Everything's keyword searchable. So if you have a question about fence, just type in fence or fencing, and it'll pop up with what the city code is. They're all just trying to make sure that Dalton Gardens stays its own cool little area. It's not a big town. It's sometimes drive through, you might miss it if you don't know you're there. So really cool setup. Any questions about Dalton Gardens, whether you live there now, you're curious about moving there, want to know what's available as far as properties, we'd love to help you.
Reach out and let us know. Matt and Diana, Ratham Realty. We'll catch you later, guys.